Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Wanderlust. I'm Urvashi, and over the last few weeks we've taken you all over the country. We've taken you to the north, to the south, to the west. So I guess it's only fair that this weekend we take you to the east. And what spells east better than the exotic city of Kolkata? But you know, I'm really stoked to be here in the city of joy, but I can't wait to get you out of here and find another weekend getaway spot. So let's go.
The City of Joy is known for its exceptional food, intellectual heritage and varied history. Kolkata has always been a popular destination on the tourism map of India, the perfect city to be in to celebrate life in all its glory. But when the daily grind gets to a resident, where do they venture for some peace and quiet?
Namaste, ek सूखा पुचका मिलेगा please? Well, Kolkata is the gateway to some incredible street food, but it's also the gateway to the entire northeast, which is a great option for a weekend getaway. You can explore right from Sikkim to West Bengal. But you know us, we want to do something a little more special, so let's see what we come up with.
A little over an hour out of Darjeeling, in West Bengal, lies the Glenburn Tea Estate, a tea plantation retreat high up in the Himalayan foothills, overlooked by the mighty Kanchenjunga. The perfect spot to sink into old world charm and recharge one's batteries.
Well, you have to agree that there's a certain charm and romance, associated to a planter's life. Sipping freshly brewed tea in the high Himalayan mountains sounds good to me too. I think I can't resist anymore. So I think I'm going to log on to yatra.com and book my next trip.
A short flight out of Kolkata brings us to the small town of Bagdogra. Which is a set-off point to the mountains of Sikkim and West Bengal. We embarked on the most beautiful, picturesque journey all along the Tista River Valley. As we began ascending, the river views became more and more stunning, and we found ourselves in the misty mountains. Rolling hills of tea fields as far as the eye could see was our first sign of our destination. As the sun set, we hit the windy, narrow roads of the Glenburn Tea Estate, and our arrival was imminent.
So here we are. Finally, I've arrived at the Glenburn Tea Estate. And normally it's a 3-hour drive from Bagdogra, but please keep 4 hours in hand because it's such a beautiful drive. I bet you'd like to stop at a couple of places before you come up. Also, it gets dark pretty early here, so you can't tell, but take my word for it when I say it's an absolute fairy tale setting. I can't wait to check in and find out what's in store for the lady in red. So let's go. Okay, so here I am sipping some delicious Glenburn tea with Victoria Burrows, who's going to give us a little precursor of what one does when one is here. Thank you very much for joining us. My first question to you, it's a stunning location. Could you tell me a little bit about the history of this place?
Yes. Well, Glenburn was first established in 1859 by a Scottish tea company. Then the estate had a few different buyers over the years until about 14 years ago it passed into the hands of the Prakash family. And the Prakashas are one of India's pioneering tea families. They are now in their fourth, and the young kids now in their fifth generation of tea planters. So they started in Dehradun and now have a large tea estate in Assam and also now in Darjeeling.
Okay. I also read somewhere that the Glenburn estate was originally owned by the Chaiwala family?
Yes, well that is the Prakash family who
That is the
own
Prakash family.
Yes.
Okay, and how did they change it to Glenburn? Is it just because it was originally called Glenburn and they stuck to the name?
Yes, the name originates from 1859 and where Glenburn translates as River Valley, so that's where the name comes from. And in fact we have two rivers on the property. The small river called the Rungdung and the large river, the Rangit, and that is fed by the snows of Kanchenjunga, the third highest mountain in the world.
So tomorrow I'm going to get an in-depth look into the tea making process, but could you give me a shorter version of what I should be expecting?
Well, one of our classic activities here at Glenburn is to take our guests through the tea factory, and so they learn about the process of tea from start to end. So when the tea pickers bring the leaves in, then they go through a withering process, followed by a rolling process, then fermentation, then drying, then sorting, and lastly packing.
Okay, so how long does this take from the picking to the packing? How long does it take?
It can even happen in over the space of one day, so 24
really?
hours later you can have a cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, the tea here is fantastic.
Good.
Can you tell me what is traditional tea time here?
At 4 o'clock every afternoon we serve a traditional high tea, so we have lots of cake and scones with jam and cream, and of course the Glenburn tea of the moment, so we serve the seasonal tea that's being produced at the moment, unless guests want something in particular, and then of course they can ask and we'll serve that instead.
Okay, so well, I'm your guest for tomorrow as well, and I want exactly that, what you said. Thank you very much for joining us.
Sure.
All right, so that was Victoria telling us what one does on a tea estate. With that, it's time for me to hit the sack. But you guys take a short little break, maybe a tea break, and see me right after. Welcome back to Weekend Wanderlust, and this is the absolute high point of the show. Quite literally, I'm at 3,000 feet above sea level at the beautiful tea estate of Glenburn. A couple of things I know about tea. Firstly, that the scientific name is Camellia sinensis. I know that this is the ideal location to grow tea because of the amount of rainfall, the altitude and the degree of the slope. I also know that Darjeeling tea is the champagne of tea. What I don't know is how do they pick these tea leaves? So I guess it's time for some personal coaching. नमस्ते नमस्ते सॉरी आपको डिस्टर्ब करने के लिए, लेकिन आप थोड़ा सिखा सकते हैं मुझे कि टी लीव्स कैसे पिक करते हैं?
हम टेबल के ऊपर से 2 पात एक कली तोड़ के रखते हैं.
अच्छा, so right on top they pick 2 leaves and 1 bud. दिखा सकते हैं कैसे? Okay, so that's what it typically looks like. So there are 2 leaves and a bud. और आप बता सकते हैं एक दिन में कितना टी लीव्स तोड़ते हैं आप?
हम लोग एक दिन में 15 से 20 किलो तक पत्ती तोड़ते हैं.
15 to 20 kilos per day. So तकरीबन 2 बास्केट दिन का. Okay, that's 2 baskets per day. और इसके बाद क्या करते हैं तोड़ने के बाद?
तोड़ने के बाद हम लोग इसको फैक्ट्री में लेके जाते हैं.
Okay, so after this, the tea leaves go to the factory, which is where we will go. And before I leave this, I'm going to try my hands at it. And I solemnly swear to never let that cup of tea get cold ever again. It's such a tedious and hard-working job. going to have an after this. Okay, so you had another beautiful one. 2 leaves and a bud.
After my lesson from the tea picker ladies, I wanted to see the process from picking to consumption. So my next stop was the tea estate factory.
Taking inspiration from Charlie and his chocolate factory, it's time for Urvashi in her tea factory. This is where the Darjeeling tea magic happens. And time to bring in our expert, Pervez, who's the manager of the tea estate and the know-it-all. And you're going to run us through the tea making process.
Well, hello Urvashi and welcome to Glenburn.
Thank you.
Well, you have been to the field and now once the leaf was plucked, it comes over here. And this is the first process. This is called withering.
Okay.
So as you can see, the boys are spreading out the leaf here.
Yeah.
So it stays here for about 16 to 18 hours. And what it happens is the moisture is removed to almost about 65%.
Okay, so this is where it's dried.
Absolutely.
And then after that?
And after that, we'll be going to the next stage, which is the rolling process.
Okay.
So we'll just walk this way, please.
Okay. Okay, Pervez, so now we're at step number 2.
Well, this is the processing area, and what you see here is the rolling table. After the leaf is withered, the leaf comes here, the withered leaf comes here, and then it is rolled. What it does here, it actually gives a twist to the leaf, and in the process, it breaks all the enzymes, which emits out the flavor and the aroma of the so beautiful Darjeeling tea.
Wow. Pervez, this is where you really smell the tea.
Well, here you are at the sorting room, and the tea comes to the beautiful hands of these ladies.
The beautiful ladies.
Absolutely, they are all doing the sorting process, and after the sorting is done, this is what comes out. Well, here you can see the different grades. This is the leaf grade, this is the brokens, this is the fannings, and this is the dust.
Is that useful as well?
Well, this is used basically for the tea bags which you have in the market, but most is what you have here, which is the leaf grade, which is also known as the FTGFOP1, which means fine, tippy, flowery, golden, orange, peco.
Is that what it stands for, really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then we have some other teas also, which we call as our specialty teas, or maybe
designer teas?
Yes, definitely our designer teas. This is the one which is called as the silver needle, which is a form of a white tea, which is made with only the buds.
Is this the highest grade tea?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you have a tea which is known as the white peony. Here, as you can see, this is also a tip, but it also has a leaf in it.
Yeah.
So this is the leaf as well as the bud. This is the white peony. Then we have a tea which is known as the moonshine. This is a very flavory and a flowery tea which is made in the first flush period in the months of March and April. And it's made from a particular clone called the AV2. And it's from that same AV2 we make a tea which is known as the Sunshine Bloom. This is done at the second flush period.
Okay.
Now that's in the month of June.
Okay. Can you tell me what are the properties of the silver needle?
Well,
why is it the highest grade?
Well, the silver needle is, as you can see, it's very specially done by a group of people who go to the field, and they are specialized pluckers who pluck only the bud. And the process of manufacture is very different, and it's very intrinsic of how it goes through.
And what are the health benefits?
Well, there are, because it definitely has a very less amount of caffeine, because it's only the buds in which you are doing, and you can actually brew it for 2 to 3 cups from one brew.
Okay, good job,
Lovely.
Glenburn.
So let's move to the tasting room,
Yes,
so we can
sure.
have a look at the different teas.
Such a cute little tasting room
Well,
with the cute little cups.
At our tasting room now, where we have all the different teas which we produce here in Glenburn. The green teas, the silver needle, the moonshine, the first flush, sunshine bloom, second flush, monsoon, oolong, and the final, which is the autumn.
This is quite yummy.
It is.
Oh, this could just be replaced with water.
Well, Urvashi, you've tasted all the teas. Which one did you like the best?
Difficult to say, but I have to say the Silver Needle is quite tasty also because it's not a very strong tea. So I think you can have quite a few cups in the day. And actually, I would like to have that for high tea, which is promised by Victoria.
Definitely.
That with some cake and cookie would be perfect, I guess.
Okay, right.
All right, guys, with that, it's time for me to take a short little break. High tea's next. You can also take your little break and come right back. Welcome back, and it's finally tea time. Afternoon tea is one of the most quintessential English traditions, and with a setting like this, it's a perfect opportunity to experience it. I'm joined by Oriel, who looks after the F&B here, and she's going to take us through the rituals. But before that, let's take a peek into the Glenburn kitchens and into the preparations.
The ritual of 4 o'clock tea time originated in England in the 1840s and is still taken very seriously here at Glenburn. Light refreshments and baked goods such as tea cakes, biscuits and scones are arranged delicately on a tiered cake stand to accompany the main event, the tea. The tea is carefully selected from a variety of teas grown at Glenburn, and it's usually the currant flush which is served as afternoon tea. The tea service is of tantamount importance to enrich the entire experience of high tea.
Okay, that's a lot of food at 4 o'clock. So could you tell me a little bit about the history of high tea?
Absolutely. So the idea of taking afternoon tea developed in the 19th century when people would have 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner at 8. So obviously they would get hungry, and afternoon tea started as a way to keep them going.
Okay, so shall we try?
Yes.
Good morning, guys. It's yet another early start for me, like it should be when you're living the mountain life. And well, I'm well rested and rather a little guilty about all the sweet stuff that I ate for high tea yesterday. So I'm on a mission to burn all those calories. I'm going to undertake a 2-hour trek to a beautiful spot. It's called the Glenburn Riverside camp. There's a beautiful river flowing somewhere there, 2 hours away, so come along. So this is the Glenburn Riverside camp, and I have to tell you about the trek. So nature, whoa, and the trek, very easy. So if you're here, then you have to undertake this trek because it wasn't strenuous at all. It was just 2 hours and you're coming downhill, so it's quite easy. You just have to be patient and you have to take it slowly. I think I'm going to go to the river now.
The river was a sight for sore eyes. Rangeet means the 2 streams, comprising of the Little Rangeet and the Greater Rangeet, and flows through the valley below the Glenburn Tea Estate. Watching the ebb and flow was the perfect end to a trip ensconced in peace, tranquility and nature.
This is truly where gods reside. Just look at it. River Rangeet playing a beautiful tune in the background. It doesn't get more beautiful than this. Not just this, the entire weekend has been so special, so unique. I've never experienced something like that before. Living the tea plant is life, sipping some tea, nibbling at scones and cakes, learning about tea. truly a very special weekend. But well, that's a traveler's life. This weekend must come to an end and we must move to our next destination, which will also be the last in this series. Your hint for next destination? I'm not going to leave the water so easily. So join us for another exciting episode, and until then, don't forget, not all those who wander are lost.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.